Okay, everybody, come on in. Stop clearing your fields. Come on in. Class is about to start. Take your seats. Put your sickles and hoes your sickles and hoes. Put them down. Take your seats. Who am I? Your substitute teacher. Hey, guys, it's Matt. Today's topic is one of the largest and greatest stuffed Lenins ever artificially carried through time, with multiple translations since the 1300s, literally thousands of different references in art and media and TV shows and books and poems. I give you potentially the greatest and largest stuffed Lenin of all time, the Divine Comedy. Dante's Inferno, Dante Alighieri. Jack, Dante Alighieri. It is known, incredibly, as one of the greatest Italian works of literature of all time. I'm sorry to tell you, it's horse shit. And this, of course, is its partner in crime. Is it Santo Botticelli? I'm not changing that if I got that wrong. Was it a 92-page picture book? It's like the first comic book he took Dante's Inferno, and then about 100 years later, a little bit less, he made a 92-page picture book, of which this is the most famous drawing in the picture book, the map of hell. Right, put your hands out, because this could get confusing. We need to remember this. 1300 and something, Dante Alighieri's The Divine Comedy, of which the most important part, or the most famous part, I don't know if it's the most important, the most famous is Dante's Inferno, that whole part about moving through the different levels of hell. Okay, overall, it's the Divine Comedy, okay? Identical, the Divine Comedy, Dante Alighieri. About 100 years later or so, a little bit less, this guy comes along who, look at the picture, obviously can't draw, is Santo Botticelli? Botticelli? Something like that. He then puts a 92-page picture book, comic book together, of which the most famous part of his set of drawings is the map of hell. We've all seen this. The map of hell, which is located inside the Vatican Library so nobody can see it. Matt, why are you picking on this today? Why don't you just leave these great works of literature alone? I'll tell you why I'm picking on it in just a moment. First, a point of correction. It was Sandro Botticelli. I think I said Santo. I usually don't get the name right when I don't have the utmost respect for who I'm talking about. Like yesterday, I called him Slotsky or something. It was Skolsky yesterday, but Slotsky was funnier. It's amazing the guy that was on me for the Asanta shit didn't come back and give me shit about it. But the reason I'm picking on it is these people should be ashamed of themselves, starting with you, Dante, and Sandro, and everybody else that propagated this bullshit. For 750 years, this was the work that propagated the fear behind hell. This was the work, the basis for everything scary and horrible, the gnashing and mashing and gnashing of teeth, or whatever, the gnawing and gnashing of teeth. It all stems from this work. They should be ashamed of themselves for propagating such horse shit. Well, Matt, you have a lot of Christian subscribers. That's blasphemous what you're saying. No, it's not at all. It's blasphemous what Dante did and his little painter friend. It's not in the Bible, all of this stuff. Sure, the Bible talks about hell, of course. I mean, what is it? The weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's in Matthew. But it doesn't even mention hell there. It says it will be cast into the outer darkness. It's inferred as being hell. So this guy got some sort of creative license to just make shit up. It's not in the Bible. It's not from the Bible at all. He made shit up, and you know what it did? It scared the shit out of people for 750 years. I hope you're listening to me, Dante. You shouldn't even be here right now. Okay, Matt, maybe the church used this in 1500 and whatever, in 1702 or whatever, to maybe get people a little bit scared so they would come into the church and sit in the pews. But the modern church doesn't take this seriously. Oh, really? Look at this. 2021, Pope Francis challenged Catholics to read Dante this year. Let's do it together. And of course, if you look into it, it's going to be flowery, the positive messages of Beatrice and this and of course. But there's so much of it that is so dark. Suffering, the gnashing of teeth. He didn't say just read this little part about Beatrice. No, it's to reinforce this ridiculous notion to scare the absolute shit out of people, as usual. Let's look at a little Divine Comedy. Now, this is the first horror story Forget Freddy Krueger and Hellraiser and Jason running through the woods with a hockey mask. This is the world's first horror story. I mean, seriously, that's what it was designed to do. Look at this. So imagine some kid just 8, 9, or 10 years old in his room, candlelight, 1350, 1480, whatever. He's got the book. It's all dark, windy outside. Woo. He pulls it out, opens the hardcover. A vision of hell. I know this is too small for you to read. I'll read it to you. Just let's look at a few sections. The pictures by themselves, even if there were no words, would scare the shit out of kids. So here it says, embracing, so much more of grief contains, provoking bitter moans. There Minos stands, King Minos, the ancient king of Crete, but judge of the damned, a demon creature depicted in Dante's Inferno. Minos stands, grinning with ghastly feature. He, of all who enters, strict examination of crimes, gives sentence and dismisses them beneath, according as he foldeth him around. For when before him come till ill-fated soul, it all confesses, and that judge severe of sins. Oh my God. Do you realize how much that would screw a kid up in 1600? Families making breakfast in the kitchen. Where's little Jeremiah? Where's Jeremiah? Mom, he's locked in his room again. Jeremiah's locked in his room. Was he reading Dante's Divine Comedy again? Yes, he was, Mom. I saw him reading it. He had the candlelight. Oh, my God. The last time he did that, he didn't go to school for a week. He pissed himself. Here's one more pleasant section that I'll read to you. Smites on mine ear, into a place I came where light was silent all. Bellowing there groaned, a noise as of a sea in tempest torn by whirring winds, the stormy blast of hell. With relentless fury drives the spirits on, whirled round and dashed amain with sore annoy. Annoying, I guess they meant. Where'd you learn to write, Dante? What is this? This is like Chaucer. This sucks. When they arrive before the ruinous sweep, their shrieks are heard, their lamentations, I'm going to do the Conan, moans and blasphemies against the good power of heaven. Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentations of Dante's Inferno. All right, let me take this section just 1 minute here to be crystal clear on my position. I don't know how clear this has been. I guess I've been a little bit all over the place. Why am I upset at this? Why wouldn't I give a squirt of you-know-what for Dante? All right. The church, of course, the Bible, has always presented the concept of hell, of limbo, of going against God. It's right from the Bible. We all know this. However, this guy, he comes along and he expands that definition. He makes it creepier, darker, scarier. And as I'm saying this, someone might be asking, Matt, do you believe he was commissioned by the Catholic Church or commissioned by a pope? Of course I do. But maybe that's known history. I don't know. Again, I can't. If I could do one video a month, I'd go off and sit in the rare books room somewhere and be thorough. I make six videos a week sometime. I don't think he was commissioned by the Catholic Church. I don't think they would ever admit that if it was true. No, I don't know. Maybe that is public record. But I don't know, the history seems to be that this guy just wrote it. And somebody said, Dante, what you've written there is interesting. You've been sitting on your little comedy, Divine Comedy, for a few months now. Why don't you send it into the Vatican, see what they think? You think I should? You think they'd like it? I think they might like it. Why don't you just mail it into the Vatican? You'd have nothing to lose, Dante, unless you try. I don't think it went down that way. It's probably commissioned. Dante, you're being called to the Vatican. Oh, why? And they sit him down like, Dante, you're our man. What do you want me to do? Scare the absolute shit out of people for 1,000 years. Here's the depiction of the three-headed devil dog, Cerberus. Guys, one point of clarification, and this little nuance confused me for a long time years ago, and it might confuse you. So let me just do 1 minute or less. Okay, put your hands out. The writer or author is Dante Alighieri. However, the main character in the Divine Comedy who descends into hell is named Dante. So it's like, okay, Dante's Inferno, part of the Divine Comedy, does that refer to Dante Alighieri, the writer, or the main character in the goddamn poem or whatever this thing is that goes into hell? So Dante wrote it, Dante Alighieri, but everybody just calls him Dante because he's so popular you don't need Alighieri. But Dante is the damn character that goes into hell to seek out Beatrice, Matt, it's not Philly, it's Beatrice. I'm re-recording this section because I realized I said Beatrice twice, like somebody in South Philly. He has the guide Virgil. Okay. Dante goes into hell. So basically, the arrogant writer basically put himself into the lead character. That's real nice, Dante. Real nice, buddy. Look at this shit I found. They got a bunch of Sisyphuses. You know that Greek character that pushed the rock and it kept rolling back? Apparently, this part of hell that Dante's moving through, they got a bunch of Sisyphuses down there in that part of that hood. I didn't know that was part of the story. I can't even read underneath it. It's too small. But what I wanted to mention is, look, I shouldn't ever speak for the Christians that are part of this channel, but I know you pretty well. And I think the Christians that are part of this channel would be more in my camp here, where other Christians that don't investigate truth, I think, would see it differently. Okay, what am I saying? And I will look to your comments if I get any of this wrong. But a Christian that's not in a truth research circle, I kind of hear them saying, well, yeah, Matt, like Otter at the frat party, I mean, Dante took certain liberties with the depiction of hell. He took certain liberties. I mean, he expanded on it 1,000 degrees in every direction and just made shit up. But I think I could hear them saying, but Matt, isn't that a good thing? I mean, the more that you can scare people to be walking the path with Jesus and walk the path of the way God would want you, isn't it better, Matt, to scare people and err on that side? I can hear some people saying that, and I hope nobody here would say that. No, it's to present anything other than the absolute truth as we know it is absolutely, it's disingenuous, it's propaganda, it's lies. No, it's not good to scare people and err on that side. I think you would agree. All right, let's look at the Wikipedia for a second, a small section. Divine Comedy, the Italian I'll skip, is an Italian narrative poem by Dante Alighieri, begun in 1308 and completed around 1321. What? 8, 18, 19, 20. 13 years, 13 years, Dante, it took you to write that thing? Something wrong with you, boy? Maybe he's dyslexic. 13 years to write 700. My first book I read to YouTube when it was called A Reality Few Can See. Then I changed the name 2 times. I wrote that in 2.5 years when I was working part-time for a while at the liquor store. And this guy took 13 years to write this piece of shit? Man, maybe it'd be nice to him. There's something wrong with him. All right, let's continue to read. It's widely considered, oh, look at this, the preeminent work in Italian literature. Mr. Bank, you need no literature. That's sad. If this is the preeminent work in Italian literature, that's very sad. And it's even sadder. The next sentence says, one of the greatest works of world literature. That's even more sadder. The poem's imaginative vision of the afterlife. That's not an imaginative vision. That's a goddamn adulteration and bastardization of anything presented in the Bible. You want to talk about creative license to make shit up, and they put it real nice and politically correct, an imaginative vision. Bullshit. Sorry. It's a representation of medieval worldview as it existed in the Western Church. Why? Why did that medieval worldview exist in the Western Church? None of the shit's in the Bible. Makes you think, doesn't it? One more section, the structure and the story. The Divine Comedy is composed of 14,233 lines. Oh no, here we go again. 14,233 lines that are divided into 3, I'm not going to pronounce it, Inferno, Hell, Purgatorio, Purgatory, I know that one, Paradiso, Paradise, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, each consisting of 33 33 cantos. What is going on? I'm tired of being inundated with this number. I'm tired of being inundated with the 9 paired with the 11. We're tired of it. Guys, we'll do the reality, midnight reality maybe tomorrow, where what Jeff and I are finding there's some weird ass shit going on, but let me just keep this to the Divine Comedy. The initial canto serving as an introduction to the poem, blah, 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 blah. Next paragraph. The number 3, look at this. The number 3 is prominent in the work. Oh, I bet it is. Represented in part by the number of canti... Oh, don't try the Italian, Matt. Additionally, the verse scheme used, terza rima, is hendecasyllabic, Lines of 11, oh God, lines of 11 syllables, with the lines composing whatever, according to the rhyme scheme, A, B, A, B, 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 B. The total number of syllables in each tercet is thus 33. One more time. Oh no. Make it stop! Last paragraph. Written in the first person, the poem tells of Dante's journey through the three realms of the dead, lasting from the night before Good Friday to the Wednesday after Easter in the spring of 1300. What does that matter? The Roman poet Virgil guides him through hell and purgatory. Beatrice, Dante's ideal woman, guides him through heaven. Why are you laughing at it? Because this Beatrice, he must be a hell of a woman. Now it says here it guides him through heaven. No, but he descends into hell initially with Virgil to get Beatrice, because Beatrice made a deal with the devil. Women listening to me out there, has a man ever descended into hell itself to get you or to offer his hand to you? And I'm not talking like the hell of family life or moving out of Arkansas. This guy went into hell itself. Could you imagine how fine that Beatrice must have been? How good the Pootie Tang. He went into hell. I couldn't imagine even walking outside to get a date anymore. I'm sorry, Dante. There's no woman worth that, dude. We should have talked. I mean, my door is always open to you, Dante. You know that. You should come see me. He could have come over and said, Matt, I'm thinking about descending in the depths of hell. You're what? For that Beatrice, the girl you met at the party? Dante, you screwed up, my man. I'm going to tell you right now, ain't no woman worth that. Think of 10 years later. Let's say he's successful. What's 10 years later going to look like? Bunch of kids, rabid dogs running around outside. He's gained a ton of weight, gigantic double watermelon gut. She's serving this horrible food. He's like, I'm tired of this food. And they're bitching and complaining. And he's like, I went into hell for you. And this is all you can serve me. You got to picture what 10 years later will look like, Dante. Stop thinking with the little head and start thinking with the big head, you jerk. So in summary, taken from the immortal words of Tybalt in Romeo and Juliet, I root for Tybalt over Romeo because he's Prince of Cats. How could I not root for Prince of Cats? Tybalt says, Romeo, thou art a villain. Well, Dante Alighieri, thou art a villain. The guy that drew the little drawings for you, what's his name? Sandro Botticelli or Bolagelli or Sandra D. Botticelli. Thou art a villain for propagating this false version of hell and scaring kids for almost 1,000 years. I hope you're both rolling around in your grave listening to me. Because of the painting that was just shown in the last segment, the famous map of hell that Sandro drew, which is the most famous painting associated with Dante's Inferno, again, the map of hell is located in the Vatican Library. Well, I don't expect them to let me in, but, my uncles, my aunts, all the good Catholics, are they allowed in to see it? Let's see. Who can visit the Vatican Library? Look at this horse shit. Due to its very precious book collection, the Vatican Library allows access to very few people. Oh, they're being honest. In particular, access is granted to professional researchers, university professors, PhD students with appropriate credentials. In rare cases, undergraduate students may be given access. Bull crap. If they show the documents they need, blah, 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 blah. Okay, to me, it's probably more like what is depicted in the Da Vinci Code. They wouldn't even let, what is his name, Robert Langdon, they wouldn't even let him in there, and there was an antimatter bomb in the movie planted, and they wouldn't even want to let him in. Undergraduates, they're going to let half the Omega House in there. Give me a break. Almost nobody can go in. No, you can't see the damn map of hell. That's nice. Just keep it locked away. That's really looking out for your peeps. If you're interested in visiting the library, there's a chance you might be able to, even if you don't fit into one of these categories. The Vatican museums make a special selection of books and manuscripts from the library collection open to the public. Well, they're photocopies, whatever it would be. All the important stuff is removed. It's probably basically the equivalent of one step above Archie and Jughead comics they've got out on a few tables. Oh, we'll let you in the library. That one table of shit, that's what you're going to show me? But I'm a good Catholic. I see that you have 18,000 rooms underground. Can't I go into that? No, you can look at the shit here we have out on the table. It's a photocopy and the important stuff's removed. And if you don't like it, you can get out. Last paragraph, the Vatican Library Museum is displayed in 13 different rooms. Make it stop, guys. Make it stop. Jeff, who does a lot of the research with me now on the magenta, like everything he looks at is the 9 paired with the 11. Is everything a 33? Is everything a 30? Matt, you're not saying the amount of rooms that the Vatican Library Museums is 13 for an occult reason. No, I'm not saying that. I'm sorry for even suggesting that. So is there anybody that can comment here that has been to the Vatican Library, or not? I doubt people here, but do you know anybody? It's probably, of course, more like what was depicted in Angels and Demons, the second Da Vinci Code movie. They're not going to give you access to. I mean, maybe they have like a few tables out where you can comb through their comic books and buy their trinkets. I would imagine, no, nobody's getting in to see much of anything. But that's just me. I haven't been there. If anybody knows anybody that has visited this Vatican Library Museum, probably just a place to buy trinkets and lollipops for the kids. Let's close with this, guys. You're not going to believe it. The painting we've been looking at, it's a famous painting. It depicts Dante Alighieri standing at the gates of hell, holding up his great work, his Divine Comedy. I guess in the back is something that resembles the map of hell, etc. I'm looking at this and I'm going, that dome looks awfully familiar. I'm like, that's not what Hannibal Lecter referenced, the Duomo scene from the Belvedere, Clarice, Florence, and I looked into it, and it is. So the reason then that Hannibal Lecter was the reason the way they made the movie Silence of the Lambs the way they did Hannibal Lecter, it seems like, he just enjoys Florence, but no, the Duomo scene from the Belvedere is an exact reference to this old painting of Dante Alighieri holding up his poem at the gates of hell with the map of hell behind him. I don't know, whatever I just put together, I don't know if the fandom, the people that are really interested in Silence of the Lambs would say, Matt, everybody knows that. I don't know. But obviously, it's a presentation of hell itself. This basement scene with Clarice and the convicted and Hannibal Lecter, and it's a reference to this whole, how many times have I seen the movie? I just thought he liked Florence, and it's the famous Duomo scene from the Belvedere. I didn't know it was a direct reference to Dante's Inferno or the Divine Comedy, of which now we do. So next time you have your first date and you pop in the old Silence of the Lambs to impress her, get her nothing gets a date from a man's perspective in the mood like a little Silence of the Lambs. You can then pause it. Tell her all about the reason he's painted the Belvedere from the Duomo scene. One more thing. I'll look to your comments that could be very interesting. I need to just set it up with this, then I'll show you the image. Do you remember in the Da Vinci Code, the first one, where Robert Langdon, Tom Hanks, is at that rich guy's house, Lee T. Bing or whatever his name is? He's showing him and Sophie the Da Vinci Code, the Last Supper by Leonardo. I almost said DiCaprio. Anyway, he shades out parts and he says Leonardo gives us the chalice, the V section. The chalice or the woman's womb, the V section between who's supposed to be John, the disciple John on his right, Leonardo DiCaprio, Da Vinci, just screwing with everybody on purpose, of course, made that character basically look like a woman on purpose, of course, but we'll leave that for another discussion. It's supposed to be the disciple John. Whatever. Anyway, Leonardo gives us the chalice. Okay, y'all remember that scene. Watch this. I put the X-ray on it, and the map of hell, Botticelli gives us the chalice, the woman's womb. It's exactly the same as between Jesus and John. That's depicted as a womb. Well, what are they saying here, Matt? If it is, Matt, this could be right, but I have no idea. If this is presented in 1400, the map of hell, a woman's womb, I don't know, guys, but I see similarities here. Who knows? This could be discussed in 1,000 pages. This could be the first time it's ever mentioned. I didn't research it, just noticed it, and I wanted to show it to you guys. I see a very strong similarity here. We'll talk about it some other time.